Saturation is one of the most powerful tools in mixing, but also one of the easiest to mess up. Everyone uses it, but not every saturation plugin sounds good. So in this video, I'm ranking my most used saturation plugins from D tier to S tier, based on sound, character, and on how often I actually reach for them when I'm mixing. And this is my personal tier list. There are no bad plugins here, just the tools I use more or less depending on the situation. Let's get started. Alright, first up we have the Head Crusher by Audio Assault. This is a budget-friendly saturator with 5 analog circuit styles that can give a subtle character or a really brute character. If you ask me, this is more or less a cheaper version of the Decapitator. It looks alike and it sounds a bit alike. Not really my favorite pick because I already own the Decapitator itself, so I'm not really using it as much. I don't think I use it at all at this moment, so I'm going to place this at D. But if you want something like the Decapitator and you don't have the money to buy the Decapitator at this moment, this is a good alternative if you want to have that Decapitator style of sound. Next up, a free saturation plugin. This one is called Saturation Knob by Softube. A really good sounding saturation plugin, and it's free, so yeah, kudos to that. Not something I pick a lot of times because I rely on other saturation plugins, but sometimes when I'm in a rush and I need a saturation plugin really fast, then this is something I actually pick sometimes. So because of its sound and because of its free and because it's easy to use, it just has one knob, I'm going to place this at C. Then next in line, this is the MSaturator by Melda Production. Also a free saturation plugin which comes from Melda. It has different curves and it is super CPU friendly. Back in the day when I made a lot of EDM style music, I reached for this saturation plugin a lot of times because it's super easy to use and you can push it really hard and it can sound really aggressive. But nowadays I don't really use it as much anymore, but because of the history I have with this plugin, I'm going to place it at C. Here we have the Decapitator by Soundtoys. This is a classic saturation plugin. Also 5 hardware inspired circuit models. It is legendary for its grid and it's very versatile. You can use it on a lot of different materials, from mix buses to single tracks or single one shots. I use it, I think, on every mix, on vocal tracks or on drum tracks or on basses. So yeah, this is one of my favorite saturation plugins, but I'm going to place it at A because it doesn't have a multi-band option, which other saturation plugins I use do have, so that's why I'm going to place it at A. Then another plugin, one of my favorites as well, the WavesFactory Spectre, and this is not just a regular saturation plugin. It looks like an EQ. It is an enhancer. You can use it on the sides, you can use it on the mids only, and you can use it on different bands. So that is why I really like this plugin, and it has different algorithms as well. I think it's a really unique saturation plugin and I use it on every mixes. If I need a little bit more of top end, I reach for the Spectre. If I need a little bit more of presence, I reach for the Spectre quite more than I reach for an EQ. So this is one of my favorite picks and I'm going to place it at S. Now we have another free option, the I think Klanghelm, I don't know how to pronounce it, but the IVGI. This is a free saturation plugin I used sometimes on vocals. It has a subtle warm character, but it can also add some really cool shine or air on your vocal tracks. It's often named as the go-to for free saturation plugins, and as I said, it sounds really good on the higher frequencies on a vocal track, so I'm going to place this at B. Now here we have another really cool saturation plugin. This one is by SSL. This is the X Saturator. It's a really easy to use plugin. As you can see, it has a really easy interface and it sounds good on all material. You can add that analog character really fast without overdoing it. If you're looking for a saturation plugin that's not really high on the price, this is a really good pick. So that's why I'm going to place this one at B. This is the MixHead by Metric Halo. This is a unique saturation tool that is inspired on a hardware unit. When it came out, I bought it instantly because it was really overhyped. I was like, whoa, I got to have this saturation plugin. I bought it, I used it on I think 3 or 4 mixes, and then I was already for like, okay, that's it. So I'm not really blown away by this. It was really expensive. I think it was like $180. But as far as I know, it was just an overhyped saturation plugin where everybody was talking about. To be honest, I never use it anymore. I think I almost forgot that I had it. So because of its price and also because I don't use it anymore in my mixes, I'm going to place this at C. Now here's the Waves Magma BB tube. I think I got it for free, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago with Black Friday. For me it was just another alternative for the Decapitator. I never really thought that it was something I needed to use, or it was something I was missing in my plugin list. It is a tube type saturation plugin used to make your sounds more roundish or fat. It can be used on a lot of materials from vocals to guitars or synths, but not really my pick. And I also try to stay away from waves as much as possible because of that thing that you have to pay for your plugins if you update your system and the plugins suddenly don't work anymore. So for me this is something for the D category. Now here we have the classic, the Black Box by Brainworks or Plugin Alliance. This is modeled after a high-end tube saturator. It can look a little complex. It is also a little complex, but it is a super good sounding plugin. It is commonly used on mix buses, but I also find myself using it on snare drums or sometimes on vocals. It can add a really rich shine in the higher frequencies, but also can make your sound really thick and more like it's finished. So it's kind of like a finishing box. But since it is more a thing for mastering instead of for mixing, I'm going to place this at the category of A. And now again, one of my favorites, the FabFilter Saturn 2. This is a widely known saturation plugin because of its multi-band processing. You can use some modulation inside of the plugin, and it has a lot of different algorithms. You can go from soft, warm saturation to an extreme distortion type of saturation, oftenly named as one of the best of the best. Also for me, so this is definitely going to be on top of the list and the S tier. Here we have the Karacter by Elysia. This is modeled after a 500 series box. A really cool plugin, really cool saturator. You can go from subtle saturation to a tube type fat grid with a really aggressive sound. It adds musical harmonics and color to your material, often used on mix buses. And you can also use it as mid-side processor. So really cool plugin. Not something I pick a lot of times because I tend to use Spectre or the FabFilter or the Black Box more than this one, but nonetheless it is a really good sounding plugin. I'm going to place it at B. And the last in the list, the Radiator by Soundtoys. Good sounding saturation plugin. You can also use it as a preamp. It is good for adding warmth or to beef up your sounds. I like to use it on 808s or other bass instruments just to add some body or extra punch. But because it feels a little bit like a one-trick pony, it is not something I recommend to everybody from hey, buy this plugin. So I'm going to place this one at B. So to quickly sum it up, In the S tier, we find the Spectre by WavesFactory, which is a multi-band enhancer saturation plugin, alongside the FabFilter Saturn 2, which is also a multi-band saturator, widely known and used by a lot of people on a lot of mixes, on a lot of tracks. In the A tier, we have Decapitator by Soundtoys. Really good plugin, can be used on single tracks or on mix buses if you use it with respect. Next to it, we find the black box, which is a really great sounding saturation box, but more for mastering than that it is for mixes. On the B tier, the Klanghelm IVGI, a go-to if you're looking for free options. Next to it, the X Saturator by SSL. Easy to use saturation plugin, works on everything. The Elysia Karacter, also something more for on mix buses than on independent tracks. The Radiator by Soundtoys, good for basses, good for adding punch or more oomph. A free option, the Saturator knob by Soundtoys. Easy to use, one knob, does what it's supposed to be doing. Good to have in your plugin list. MSaturator, also a really cool plugin, also free. I used it a lot of times, but I think that is almost 10 years ago now. But like I said, good sounding plugin. The MixHead, it is a good plugin, but I think it's overhyped. It's way too expensive. But because the sound is good, I place it on C. On D, we find the Audio Assault Head Crusher. Good sounding plugin, good cheaper alternative if you are looking for something like Decapitator. And the Waves Magma BB tubes, good saturation plugin, not really something I am using because I want to step away from Waves. So that's my saturation plugin tier list. Let me know in the comments which one you use the most. If I forgot some plugins, let me know as well. I'm looking forward to try new things. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to my channel. I'm Moxie Mappy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another one. Peace.